The following program was produced by a community producer.
Good evening and welcome to Malden Community Conversations with the Malden Community Coalition. We are a group that helps people around Malden find one another to help make Malden a better place. If you are interested in volunteering or if you are part of a group that needs volunteers, we'd love to hear from you. Tonight we have Sue and Alita here from Indivisible, Malden, Melrose, Wakefield. Do I have that correct?
Well, in spirit, yes, and technically, we are indivisible in Melrose, Wakefield, and beyond.
That is Melrose, Wakefield, and beyond. Okay. So tell us a little bit about your group. What do you do? Why do you do it? How big are you? Things like that.
Oh my gosh. Can I
go for it?
Take that? Mm-hmm. Is that okay? So our group, how many we are is 1,600.
On a mailing list?
On a mailing list.
Okay,
yeah,
wow.
Yeah. And we started out with 24 people a year ago, January. And at the time, we made a list. We knew we wanted to take a stand. Trump had just been elected. We knew things were going to change. And we made a list of all the issues we'd be thinking about, A to Z. Like A was anti-Semitism and abortion issues, and B was border issues and book bans, and C was climate change, all the way to Z. And we realized that not only could we not address them all, but that even if we did, it wouldn't make a difference, because without democracy, none of that means anything. And we realized democracy was at risk. So we made our entire focus be that, and that's what it is. And we've been working, and we hooked up with Indivisible, which is a national organization, and they've helped us keep on track with that as our goal. Originally we wanted to retain it, now we want to reclaim it, and yeah, why don't we say reclaim it?
So you're a pro-democracy organization then.
Totally.
You're advocating for the ability of the people to be heard in the government that serves us.
Exactly.
Okay.
And that's what democracy means in Greek, as you probably know. Demo and krasi means people having rules.
People setting the rules.
Right.
So if someone went to the Indivisible National Organization website, they'd see that the mission statement is stopping the rise of authoritarianism and improving democracy.
Okay.
And we actually have these signs behind us, which are part of what we do to educate people. So these words, authoritarianism and fascism and democracy, are a bit abstract. It's been a long time since some people learned about them in school. So one of the projects we have is the Signs of Fascism. We have 24 different signs that have concrete examples of authoritarianism, which are things that we're losing in our day-to-day lives. Some of them here behind us are labeling minorities as enemies, normalizing corruption. And then the Melrose Unitarian Universalist Church pro-democracy team has a complementary set of signs. This is democracy, where they talk about sort of the opposite of these. What we want to have in a healthy democracy is a free press, science-based policies for health, free and fair elections, no voter intimidation. And so those are inspirational, because it's sometimes important when you are speaking out to say what you want and not just what you don't want.
So So you have these signs that all say this is fascism at the bottom, and you told me that you have something like a total of 20 of these signs.
Right.
Where do you use these signs?
every Sunday. We use them in different towns. We use them in Melrose for a few weeks, then we went to Saugus. At this moment, we're using them in Wakefield for a few weeks. We'll see. And yeah, we go on a Sunday at 1 o'clock. If you look at our website, you can see where we are if you want to join us on any given Sunday.
Okay.
It's very empowering because it's wonderful to take the stand and to just say, this is what we're dealing with. Normalizing corruption, for example, you know?
It's not normal that, you know, the president accepts gifts of airplanes
Hundreds
from
of
foreign
millions.
governments or cryptocurrency in exchange, seemingly in exchange for favors. And as time goes on and these things happen again and again in the news, it becomes familiar and normalized in people's minds. So this is a bit of a reminder, and I call it the Burma Shave type marketing campaign, and a lot of people don't remember the series of signs along the roadway with marketing a product. But this is nice because as people see the signs as they're driving by, they get a sense that something is happening, and they can miss a few but still get the point. And hopefully with the variety of messages, something resonates with them. They see something that says to them, oh, I've read about that in the newspaper, and I don't think that's a good thing, you know. And I realize that is happening.
Woke up one morning and there were soldiers. Oh, bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. Woke up one morning and there were soldiers. The invasion had begun. Lend me your shoulder, we'll stand together. Oh, bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. Lend me your shoulder, we'll stand together. But I feel my time has come, and if I die here for the resistance, oh, bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. And if I die here for the resistance, you must lay me in my grave among the flowers upon the mountain. Oh, bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. Among the flowers upon the mountain, let me rest among the brave. Someday the people will pick the flowers. Oh, bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. Someday the people will pick the flowers, and they will remember my name. This is the flower of the resistance. Oh, bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. This is the flower of the resistance, and those who died for liberty. This is the flower of the resistance. Oh, bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. This is the flower of the resistance, and those who died for liberty. This is the flower of the resistance, and those who died for liberty. Woke up one morning and there were soldiers. Oh, bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. Woke up one morning and there were soldiers. The invasion had begun. Lend me your shoulder, we'll stand together. Oh, bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. Lend me your shoulder, we'll stand together. But I feel my time has come, and if I die here for the resistance, oh, bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. And if I die here for the resistance, you must lay me in my grave among the flowers upon the mountain.
What kind of action are you hoping to spur people to when they see these signs? Is it awareness raising, or do you want people to take some kind of concrete action when they read these signs?
It's both, really.
Okay.
Assuming we're ping-ponging here. Holding the signs and holding other signs that we hold at our regular rallies where we have other things to say, is a way of, it's a form of resistance because we're supposed to be quiet right now. So just standing with a sign is an act of resistance. It's also an invitation to people walking by or driving by to join us. It's also an expression of free speech, which we understand we have to use it or we will lose it. So each time we use it, we're doing that. I think the other really important thing it's doing is it's using our muscle that what we know is that the only way an authoritarian regime has ever been defeated is through a mass movement. And we also know, with people looking at hundreds of years of authoritarian breakthroughs throughout planet Earth, that once the population reaches a percentage of 3.5% of the people in sustained resistance, then the authoritarian steps down, or the would-be authoritarian steps down. So we are aiming for that. That means 11 or 12 million people in the country in sustained resistance. That's 2,000 people in Malden. It's 1,000 people in Wakefield, 1,000 in Melrose, and so on. So our 1,600 is not the number we want to be at. And that's a ballpark, but it's where we're headed and where we want to be.
And so tell us about your website and about how to get onto your mailing list for people who are who haven't been involved with you in the past and who want to get involved in some kind of way to resist the rise of authoritarian government, to resist the rise of fascism. How can they get involved with the work that you're doing?
So our website is Indivisible in, because we're indivisible in Melrose, Wakefield, and beyond, but it's INN.
INN, Indivisible, INN.
.org.
.org, okay.
And that website has information about our upcoming events and our past events, photos, videos. It has a link to our Blue Sky account, our Instagram account, and a place to sign up on the mailing list. So Sue will send an email every week with a list of actions that people can take. Some of them are national, some of them are state, some of them are local. So it can be a rally or a standout, which is outside and is not that easy this time of year. Or it could be an indoor event. We had a letter writing event a few weeks ago that focused on corporations that collaborate with ICE, pressuring them to reconsider that stance. And Hanscom Field, the board of directors of Massport that manages Hanscom Field, to encourage them to stop their deportation flights from there. So the newsletter is a way to plug into lots of other, it's like a menu of options that people can choose from.
And so people, when they get that mailing, they can decide what is within their capacity this week.
Absolutely.
And they could forward it to other people if they wanted to. So you're really building you're building networks on the ground of people who care about these issues.
Yes, exactly. Okay. And the standouts and the events where people come together in the real world to hold signs are an opportunity for people who are neighbors to meet each other, and then ideas germinate and grow as people connect with neighborhood issues or town issues. So in some of the towns, there are resolutions to limit what ICE can do in their effort to snatch our neighbors. That may be limiting their ability to operate on city-owned properties, for example. Okay. The details can be difficult to work out, but there's efforts in that area.
Okay. And it's the sort of thing where if people don't speak out to their local town or city government, then things will just progress with no resistance to them.
People have the most power, I think, at the local level.
Okay.
Because they know their neighbors, they know their city councilors, they can go to city council meetings, they can watch them online, they actually can be quite accessible. They can sign petitions locally, they know what's going on the ground. We still want to pressure the national level, but we just have less of a lever there than we do locally. Okay. And speaking of locally, let me just mention, we have Maldonians in our group, but there's also some work happening here too. There's a standout now, a new standout on Saturdays on Eastern Avenue near the Home Outlet building. Across
from the Caribbean restaurant.
Okay. Yep.
And down the block from Sun Kong, the dim sum place.
Exactly. Okay. Exactly. There's an Indivisible group called Mystic Valley Progressives. They have a Facebook page. And they're working with the Malden Democrats, which have a Facebook page and a website.
Okay. I've heard from friends who live in other states that Indivisible chapters are not always exclusively Democrats, that there are people who participate in Indivisible chapters who voted Republican in the last presidential election and have become alarmed at what has been happening. Are you seeing any substantial number of Republican voters, as rare as they are in Massachusetts, joining your standouts?
We don't really know.
We don't know.
Because we don't ask people about their affiliations.
Okay.
But we do see a lot of people who say, I've never been at a rally before, I've never done anything political before, and what's happening with this country is so devastating. I've got to be here. So
you're giving people a way to feel involved with something bigger than themselves.
Absolutely. Okay. Absolutely. And another thing to emphasize here is that we've decided to focus at this point, given all the issues within the umbrella of democracy, we're kind of focusing on what's happening with ICE, and we're focusing on elections.
Okay.
What's happening with ICE speaks for itself. These unmasked, unaccountable humans doing unthinkable things, essentially acting without the law behind them and without any humanity behind them. It's really quite horrible. 400,000 people who were deported last year alone in 2025. That's a huge number. Anyway, so that's one area of focus, and we do a lot around that. And then the other is with elections. And elections is where we put our last stake in the ground. I think elections in media, which is why this is such an important thing you're doing here, having media available. But to focus on elections, it is one of the last hallmarks, if you will, of democracy, and we need it. So while this administration has a full-out attack going on elections by rigging maps, by playing with the polls, with the voter lists, by taking the voter lists, by weaponizing the people who work there, we are on an all-out campaign to do what we can to protect elections. And we have not forgotten for one moment that Trump went to court 62 times to challenge the 2020 election, stood in front of judges that he had appointed, and each time they either laughed him out of court or threw him out of court or denied his petition because there's no there there. And he's still at it again with the same areas, the same geographical precincts, and the same allegations. Just not
One thing
true.
that's important too, I think, is that a lot of people don't make it to the polls and trying to figure out how to engage them in the democratic process. And media is part of that, because it's important that they know who is running for office and what they want to improve in the community. And having events such as the Candidates Forum this fall was amazing to really hear people answer the questions of the audience about different issues in town. But also things like early voting, same-day registration, which is going to be on the ballot in the fall, I believe. Anything that reduces the friction for people to make their voice heard. And remembering that Election Day is the last day to vote, and people should not really wait until the last moment if they can. Election Day has historically been the day, but I had a friend who was in the ER on Election Day, and she missed her chance to vote.
So do you anticipate that when the elections come around this fall that you'll be helping people get to the polls and doing things like that to improve voter turnout? Is that something you've talked about?
We haven't thought that far ahead, but that is possibly a thing we could do. Encourage people to vote through some kind of postcard campaign, for example. Encouraging people to vote early by mail if they can. It is actually quite convenient.
Yes, it is. It is. So in addition to kind of helping people meet their neighbors and get involved in local issues, are you collaborating with any other groups that are doing things like bystander intervention trainings? Are you helping people start thinking about what they'll do if ICE comes for their neighbors on their street?
Absolutely. We're doing all of that.
Okay.
We have a lot of trainings happening at any point in time. Anybody who's listened this far into this interview should really get onto our Facebook page or our email list and see all the things, because every week we list 3 categories of things. Something that you can do where we say you bring all your molecules, where you get out on the street or you stand on a bridge and hold a sign, which, by the way, really makes a difference. Or go with a lot of people to speak to a legislator or to a meeting or legislative meeting or some such. And then something to say, which is writing a postcard or writing letters or making phone calls, and then something to learn, as you just mentioned. We have a lot of training sessions going on all the time, and it all happens really quickly and with remarkable rapidity. I do want to say one thing about the bridge standouts.
Oh, yeah. What bridges?
Hopkins Street in Wakefield, currently over I-95, is our Tuesday 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. slot. We've also done Forest Street, Marble Street in Winchester Stoneham. It's amazing. You can get like 15,000 vehicles going underneath in a 2-hour span. It's really exhilarating too, because there's lots of supportive honking and flashing of lights, and you can get a message out, and you can change that message as the news and current events change to be really timely.
And I just read today, I was looking up how does this affect people? And there were 2 different studies. One said that people spend 4 minutes a day looking at political information in this country. And the other said only 10 minutes a week. I was really not happy. However, the flip side of that is if you get into somebody's consciousness standing on a bridge holding a sign, you just touched part of their 10 minutes of awareness that week about what's happening in the world. And if they've been uncomfortable about it, it'll validate that. And if they haven't thought about it, maybe it'll trigger a thought.
Well, thank you for the work you're doing. Remind us again of your website and how people can get involved on your mailing list.
Yeah, the easiest way is to go to indivisible.org. And everything is linked off of there. Lots of opportunities to connect, get involved.
All right. Alita, Sue, thank you so much for being with us tonight. This has been Malden Community Conversations with the Malden Community Coalition. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Have a lovely evening.